No one cares as much as you think they do, and the moment you accept that, your entire life changes. Hey, warrior. Most people spend their days trapped in their own storms. Stress about money, regret from yesterday, fear of tomorrow. They rarely have the time or emotional space to judge you the way your mind imagines, yet we exhaust ourselves trying to be seen, trying to be approved, trying to matter in the eyes of people who barely notice their own reflection. That pressure becomes a silent prison. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Each of us is busy with our own concerns." He wasn't being cold, he was pointing toward freedom. Because when you finally stop expecting the world to care, something powerful happens. Insecurity fades, comparison dies, and you start living from a place of self-respect instead of seeking validation. Today, we'll explore 7 brutal Stoic truths that free you from needing approval and return you to your own strength. Let's begin. Part 1. The first brutal truth. No one is thinking about you as much as you think. And that's your freedom. You are not being watched as closely as your mind tells you. People are too busy surviving their own storms to study your flaws. The world is not judging you. It's preoccupied with itself. Most people live inside their own mental noise. They rush through the day weighed down by deadlines, fears, insecurities, financial worries, relationship problems, and private regrets they never speak about. They barely notice their own reflection in the mirror, let alone yours. Yet somehow, we convince ourselves that the world is monitoring our every step, waiting for us to mess up, keeping score of our failures. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more liberating. People forget you faster than you think. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply when he wrote, "Each of us is busy with our own concerns." He wasn't dismissing humanity. He was revealing a psychological truth that frees you from imaginary pressure. You're not the center of anyone's universe, but your own. Their minds are consumed with their battles, not your imperfections. Think about your own life. How often do you replay someone else's awkward moment? How often do you obsess over a mistake someone else made at work last year? How often do you remember a stranger's embarrassing slip on the street? Almost never. Because you, like everyone else, return to your own life, your own problems, your own fears. The same rule applies to every person around you. They move on, quickly. And yet, we torture ourselves with thoughts like, "Everyone saw that mistake. People are talking about me. They must think I'm weak." But in reality, most people barely notice, and those who do forget within hours. This misunderstanding, the spotlight effect, keeps people small. It stops them from trying new things, from speaking their truth, from taking risks, from making bold moves. Instead of living, they perform. Instead of growing, they hide. Instead of acting, they wait for approval that never comes. When you finally accept that no one is thinking about you as much as you imagined, your life changes instantly. You stop asking for permission. You stop shrinking yourself. You stop replaying old mistakes. You stop apologizing for simply being human. You begin to live on your terms, not the world's expectations. You also become more courageous. Suddenly, failing publicly doesn't scare you because you know people will forget. Starting over doesn't feel embarrassing because you realize no one is tracking your timeline. Speaking up doesn't feel risky because you finally see that your voice matters more than their fleeting opinions. Most importantly, you reclaim the mental energy you wasted trying to impress a world that wasn't even watching. Stoicism teaches that your worth comes from your character, not your audience, your choices, not their commentary. So let this truth liberate you. People are not thinking about you, they're thinking about themselves, and that means you are free to become who you truly are. Part 2. When no one is coming to save you, you become unstoppable. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is responsible for your healing, your discipline, or your future. And the moment you accept that, your strength multiplies. We grow up believing that someone, somewhere, will eventually step in and fix our lives. A partner who understands us, a mentor who guides us, a friend who lifts us, a family member who rescues us, or some magical moment where everything suddenly makes sense. But life isn't built that way. People are wrapped in their own problems, their own fears, their own exhaustion. They're not ignoring you out of cruelty. They're simply overwhelmed by the weight of their own existence. Stoicism teaches a harsh but empowering truth. Self-responsibility is the birthplace of freedom. Epictetus warned us not to hand our power to the world. If your peace depends on someone else's support, attention, or motivation, then your entire life becomes a fragile structure that collapses the moment they step away. Think about the moments in your past when you waited for someone to encourage you, waited for the right timing, waited for a sign, waited for permission. How many opportunities slipped through your hands? How many years drifted by because someone else didn't show up? That waiting is how dreams die quietly. But when you accept that no one is obligated to save you, something powerful shifts inside you. You stop waiting for motivation and start creating momentum. You stop depending on validation and start cultivating discipline. You stop looking for the right person to guide you and start guiding yourself from within. This truth is not meant to make you feel alone. It's meant to make you feel powerful. Because the moment you realize you are your own rescuer, your life stops being a story of helplessness and becomes a story of agency. You start taking control of the things that were always yours to control: your habits, your thoughts, your reactions, your effort, your choices. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that external circumstances cannot decide his character. That mindset made him unshakable in a world of chaos. When you adopt the same philosophy, you stop expecting others to carry burdens that were always meant to strengthen you. Yes, people may support you. People may care for you. People may encourage you. But their help is temporary. Their presence is unpredictable. Their attention is limited. You are the only constant in your own life. And that means building a strong, resilient, disciplined version of yourself is not optional. It's essential. When you finally internalize this truth, you stop blaming others for what you lack. You stop resenting people for not meeting needs they were never responsible for. And you stop feeling betrayed when the world doesn't show up the way you hoped. You rise, you adapt, you act. So let this truth echo in your mind. No one is coming, but you are enough. And the warrior who becomes their own savior becomes unstoppable. Part 3. When you stop demanding attention, you finally see who truly cares. The more you chase attention, the further it runs. The more you cling to people, the quicker they slip away. Silence exposes everything loud words try to hide. Most people don't realize this, but the moment you stop demanding to be seen, the truth about your relationships becomes visible. When you no longer beg for replies, for affection, for validation, for presence, you start to notice who remains by choice and who only stays out of convenience. It's one of the harshest truths of adulthood. When you stop fueling a connection, the connection reveals its real strength. This is why Stoics warn us against emotional dependency. Seneca wrote that genuine friendship stands on virtue, not on neediness. If someone stays only when you are giving, explaining, apologizing, entertaining, or chasing, they were never with you in the first place. They were with the version of you that served them. Think about the people in your life. When you stopped texting first, did the conversation die? When you stopped fixing every problem, did the relationship collapse? When you stopped overgiving, did the bond weaken? These moments hurt deeply, but they are also clarifying. Absence is a test most relationships fail, but the ones that pass, those are real. You see, when you demand attention, People can hide behind politeness. They can pretend. They can mirror emotions. They can mask their disinterest. But when you step back, when your energy stops feeding the dynamic, the truth rises quickly. Some people disappear. Some people grow distant. Some people get irritated because they lost the control your seeking once gave them. And some people quietly stay. Those quiet ones are the ones who matter. Still, accepting this truth requires courage. Most people are terrified of pulling back because they fear the silence that follows. They fear abandonment, rejection, or discovering that the relationship wasn't mutual after all. But warrior, what's the point of holding on to a connection that only exists because you're carrying all its weight? Stoicism teaches that love and loyalty should flow freely, never forced, never negotiated. Relationships built on pressure collapse under truth. But relationships built on authenticity survive even the stillness of distance. When you stop chasing, you stop lying to yourself about who is truly there. This shift also frees your heart from disappointment. You no longer resent people for not giving what they never intended to give. You no longer feel betrayed by their fading efforts. Instead, you simply observe patterns without judgment. You respond with clarity instead of desperation. And something powerful happens. Your standards rise, your peace grows, and your life becomes quieter, but far more honest. So let this sink in. Pulling back doesn't ruin real connections. It reveals them. The people who stay without being asked are the people meant to be in your life. The rest were only noise you were brave enough to silence. Part 4. When you accept the world's indifference, you become emotionally untouchable. Most people are not cruel. They're simply distracted. The world isn't against you. It's just not focused on you. And when you accept that, you stop breaking from things that were never personal. One of the most painful illusions we carry is the belief that the world is paying special attention to us, to our failures, our flaws, our choices, our struggles. So when someone ignores us, criticizes us, forgets us, or doesn't show the reaction we expected, we take it as a wound to our worth. But warrior, here is the Stoic truth. Most of the things you take personally have nothing to do with you at all. People are overwhelmed, they're anxious, they're rushed, they're exhausted. They're juggling regrets, responsibilities, insecurities, and quiet battles they never speak about. Their lack of warmth isn't an attack. Their forgetfulness isn't a message. Their indifference isn't rejection. It's simply life pulling them in 10 different directions. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone when he wrote that human beings act from their own impressions, not from malicious intent toward us. That means the cold tone, the slow reply, the lack of enthusiasm, the distant behavior. All of it reflects their internal turbulence, not your value. You're simply a bystander in their storm. When you internalize this truth, everything changes. You stop assuming the worst in others. You stop interpreting neutral behavior as hostility. You stop reading silence as abandonment. Instead, you begin to see people realistically, not as emotional judges of your identity, but as fellow prisoners of their own mental chaos. This shift grants you a type of emotional invincibility. Suddenly, you're not thrown off by someone's mood. You're not devastated by someone's inconsistency. You're not emotionally destroyed because someone didn't respond the way you wanted. You learn to maintain your center even when the world around you is unsteady. And that's where your power is born. In realizing that other people's indifference was never meant to define you. Think back to moments where you spiraled because of someone else's behavior. Maybe a friend didn't reply for days. Maybe someone didn't appreciate your effort. Maybe a colleague dismissed your idea. You analyzed it. You replayed it. You created stories in your mind. But here's the truth. They probably didn't think about it twice. You suffered for hours, days, maybe even weeks, for something the other person forgot in minutes. Stoicism teaches you to separate what is within your control from what is not, and the reactions, emotions, and attention of other people, always outside your control. The moment you stop expecting consistency from inconsistent people, you become consistent within yourself. When you accept that the world is indifferent, three things happen. You stop taking things personally. You stop giving your peace away. You stop expecting emotional nourishment from emotionally empty people. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's not detachment from life. It's detachment from illusions. So let this truth settle into your heart. The world's indifference is not an insult. It's an invitation to anchor yourself. And when you stop absorbing every shift in others, you become unshakable. Part 5. When you realize no one cares about your failures, you stop fearing them. Most people forget your mistakes faster than you recover from them. Your failures are not headlines. They are footnotes. And once you accept that, you stop living in fear and start living in motion. We spend so much of our lives terrified of failing publicly, terrified of looking foolish, being laughed at, being judged, being talked about. We imagine our mistakes are massive, unforgettable events that everyone will remember forever. But the truth, warrior, is far less dramatic. People barely remember their own failures, let alone yours. Everyone is too busy dealing with their own embarrassment, their own regrets, their own insecurities to track your every misstep. Think about the last time you witnessed someone else fail. A friend who started a project and quit, a colleague who stumbled during a presentation, a stranger who made an awkward mistake. How long did you think about it? A minute? An hour? Then what happened? You moved on. You returned to your life, your responsibilities, your worries. Their failure didn't stay with you. It didn't haunt you. It didn't define them in your mind. It simply passed through your awareness and disappeared. And that is exactly what happens when you fail. People notice briefly, then they forget. The one who clings to the mistake is you. Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that human beings are consumed by their own thoughts, not yours. So, why fear failing in front of people who are barely paying attention? Why sacrifice your dreams for the approval of minds too distracted to remember your attempts? Failure becomes terrifying only when you believe it will follow you forever. But once you understand that people aren't waiting to see you fall, that most of them don't even notice, you free yourself from the chains of embarrassment. You stop hesitating. You stop overthinking. You stop holding back. You start taking risks you once avoided, not because failure disappears, but because the fear loses its grip. Think about the opportunities you didn't pursue because you were scared of looking foolish. Think about the ideas you never shared because you feared being mocked. Think about the passions you abandoned because you worried about opinions that would have faded anyway. How much of your potential has been buried under the fear of an audience that doesn't exist? Here's another truth. The people who judge you are projecting their own fears. People who mock are insecure. People who gossip are unfulfilled. People who criticize your attempts are terrified of making their own. Meanwhile, the people who matter, the ones building, striving, growing, they don't laugh at failure. They admire effort. They respect courage. They pay attention to persistence, not perfection. Once you accept that no one truly cares about your failures, you become dangerous, in the best way. You begin to experiment. You begin to speak boldly. You begin to act without hesitation. You become someone who moves forward while others stay stuck in fear. Failure stops being a shame and becomes a strategy. Every misstep becomes data. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every attempt becomes a small victory over the version of you that was too afraid to try. So let this truth become your liberation. No one is tracking your failures. No one is replaying your mistakes. No one is keeping score but you. And the moment you stop fearing the judgment that never existed, You unlock a version of yourself capable of anything. Part 6. When you realize no one cares about your success. Either you learn to validate yourself. People clap for a moment, then they return to their own lives. Your success matters most to the one person who must live with it, you. This is one of the hardest truths to swallow. The world celebrates you briefly, then forgets. Your accomplishments might impress people for a day, an evening, maybe a week, but life moves on quickly. Everyone is absorbed in their own ambitions, their own struggles, their own insecurities. They might applaud your wins, but they don't carry them. They don't maintain them. They don't build them. You do. And once you understand this, you stop performing for approval. You stop trying to achieve things just to be noticed. You stop chasing praise like a child chasing fireworks. Beautiful for a moment, meaningless when they fade. You begin building for deeper reasons: integrity, fulfillment, discipline, character. Stoic philosophy teaches that virtue is its own reward. Success that depends on external applause is fragile. It shakes when the applause stops, and it always stops. But success built from internal values, from personal commitment and self-respect, stays rooted no matter who's watching. Think back to times when you accomplished something meaningful. Maybe you got a promotion, hit a fitness goal, launched a project, overcame a fear, or turned your life in a new direction. For a moment, people were excited for you, but soon they moved on. The joy you felt didn't come from their praise. It came from the journey you endured, the discipline you built, the version of yourself you became. Yet many people fall into the trap of living for applause. They chase achievements not because these achievements matter, but because being noticed matters. They want attention disguised as ambition. They want validation dressed as purpose. But this always ends in disappointment, because temporary praise cannot sustain a lifelong journey. When you accept that no one cares about your success as deeply or as consistently as you do, you become free. You stop expecting constant recognition. You stop feeling ignored. You stop mistaking silence for lack of pride. You realize that people are simply busy surviving their own story. And then something beautiful happens. You learn to celebrate yourself. You learn to pause and acknowledge your progress, even if no one else sees it. You learn to appreciate the small wins, the invisible victories, the quiet transformations. You build a relationship with yourself that isn't dependent on praise. This shift strengthens you emotionally. You no longer get inflated by approval or deflated by indifference. You no longer rely on others to feel worthy. You rise and fall based on effort, not applause. This is what Stoics call emotional sovereignty, the ability to hold your value within yourself. And here is the paradox. When you stop needing praise, you become more admirable. People respect those who don't beg for recognition. They're drawn to those who move with quiet confidence. They notice people who build in silence and rise without announcements. So embrace this truth. Your wins are yours to honor. Your growth is yours to recognize. Your journey is yours to celebrate. Because when you validate yourself, you stop living for the world and start living for the person who will walk with you until the end. Part 7. When you stop needing approval, you become impossible to manipulate. No one can control a person who doesn't crave attention. No one can guilt-trip someone who no longer fears being disliked. Approval is the leash. Detachment is the freedom. Most people don't realize how easily they're controlled. Not by force, not by authority, but by their own hunger for being liked. When you long for approval, people sense it. When you crave validation, people can exploit it. When you fear disappointing others, people can steer your choices. And when you desperately want to be seen, people can decide when to withhold attention to weaken you. This is why emotional dependence is the silent chain around so many lives. It's not the world that restricts you. It's the fear of losing its acceptance. But warrior, the moment you stop needing that acceptance, the moment you finally detach from being liked, praised, validated, or reassured, the entire dynamic shifts. You regain control of your decisions, you reclaim your identity, you reduce the world's power over your emotional state. Stoicism teaches that the greatest freedom is indifference to what does not depend on you. And the opinions of others, their approval, their judgments, their reactions, never belong to you. They are external, fragile, unpredictable, and often shallow. Basing your self-worth on them is like building a home on sand. Think about how often people manipulate through emotional pressure. A friend withdraws affection to get their way. A partner uses silence to punish. A co-worker gives compliments only when it benefits them. A parent uses guilt to control choices. A stranger online throws insults hoping to provoke you. These tactics only work when you need something from them. Validation, acceptance, reassurance. But the moment you stop needing those things, their power collapses. Pull the need out from under any manipulator, and they fall flat. Their strategies become useless. When you detach from approval, 3 powerful things happen. First, you start acting from your values, not your fears. You choose what's right, not what's pleasing. You speak honestly instead of carefully. You set boundaries instead of sacrificing yourself. Your decisions become rooted in integrity rather than anxiety. Second, you stop over-explaining or defending yourself. People who rely on approval feel the need to justify everything, their choices, their emotions, their goals. But when you let go of that need, your answers become simple, strong, grounded. Because that's what I choose. That's what aligns with my values. I don't owe anyone further explanation. Third, manipulative people distance themselves, and that is a gift. Anyone who stays only because they can control you won't stay once you reclaim your power. Let them go. Their absence is not a loss. It is proof that you are no longer living through emotional chains. And here's the paradox. The more indifferent you become to approval, the more respect you attract. People trust those who stand firm in themselves. They admire those who are self-contained. They notice those who can walk alone without bending to pressure. You become someone who cannot be pushed, guilted, or steered. You become stable. You become centered. You become untouchable. So let this truth root deeply. Freedom begins where approval ends. No one can manipulate a mind that no longer seeks permission to exist. And the moment you stop needing the world stops controlling you. You don't become free when the world finally pays attention to you. You become free the moment you stop needing it. Warrior, we've walked through 7 brutal Stoic truths. Truths about indifference, self-responsibility, disappointment, courage, and emotional sovereignty. And if you felt something shift inside you while listening, that's because these truths were never meant to hurt you. They were meant to unburden you. Life gets lighter when you stop assuming everyone is watching. Life gets clearer when you stop waiting for someone to save you. Life gets calmer when you stop taking everything personally. Life gets stronger when you stop fearing failure and start honoring effort. Life gets deeper when you stop chasing applause and start validating yourself. And life becomes powerful, truly powerful, when you stop needing approval and start living from your own center. This is the heart of Stoicism. Your peace, your worth, your strength, your discipline, all of it comes from within you, not from the world. So as you walk back into your life, take this with you. I no longer need the world to care. I choose to live by my values. I reclaim my inner freedom. If this video spoke to you, like, share, and leave a comment with the affirmation, I am free from needing approval.